Hi. So notes for 5-8, absolute value functions. The reflection on my glasses bothers me. So remember that absolute value are those absolute value bars. They've been in your brain since 7th grade when I first taught them to you. Absolute value bars. The absolute value of x just represents the distance from 0 on a number line. And when you're talking about that, we always have a positive absolute value. Always positive. And that's because, as you probably remember me hammering into your brain from previous days, that you can't have a negative distance. When you're talking about distance, it can only possibly be positive. Absolute value functions are really nice and easy to remember because they will always look like a V. Absolute value looks like a V. Easy enough, right? Important piece of information is where to find the absolute value button in your calculator. So let's do this. I'm wondering where to put this. Let's pull this over here. And we'll say ABS value in your calc. Swoop, swoopity swap. Alright, so to get to the absolute value function in your calculator, you need to first hit the math button. And then you're going to arrow over to the choice that says num for NUM number. And then you'll choose the first choice. It says ABS, and it'll have an open parentheses. Remember, if you're using the 83, remember... Sometimes I wonder how I can even read. Oh, geez. Struggle. 83, I'm just not even going to use remember. Make sure you close the parentheses. And if you're using the 84, make sure you arrow over. Boom. And I'll just show you that really quick on the calculator. So you hit the math button, arrow over to number, NUM, choice 1, ABS, and you'll notice there are my absolute value bars. So I have an 84 calculator, so notice if I'm putting, something into there, if I want to continue it outwards, if I'm like adding or subtracting something to it, I have to arrow out of the absolute value so I don't remain in there. Okay, yeah, I think that's about it. The only thing that I want to point out here is because these are made up of straight lines, itself, the absolute value function is not a straight line because it's not continuous. It stops and then it goes in a different direction. So these are not linear functions. These are not linear. I'm just going to say not linear. So there is no constant rate of change. Just something to keep in mind because that's important.